Okay. Before I assign the final draft of the pop essay, I left comments on everyone's part 3, the planning. So, or I should have left comments. If everything looked fine, I probably didn't leave any comments. But I left comments on most of them. So if you go to your assignments on Turnitin, now this is my English 1 Turnitin. I just made a student account. This should be basically what you see, but the assignments are different. If you go to View, now I only assigned one assignment. I don't know if you can click View for ones I don't comment on. I'm guessing you can. If you click View, it will load and it will bring you to another screen. Okay. And then this toggle right here, that's the instructor feedback. That's my feedback. You can hide it or open it, just like this is the plagiarism tracker. So what I did is I just showed you the variety of what Turnitin offers. So here is, you can click on them and they have additional information if they do. So here's like a comment from Turnitin, like one of their default comments. Here's one of their default comments where it's like a title and a description. Here's one of their default comments, but with like my own comment added. Here's just the symbol for me adding my own comment. And then I could just type right onto your paper, like this. Oh, I guess you can move it too. I guess you can move this too. Okay, well, if you move it, it won't make sense. So don't move it. But I've added comments to your essays if they needed them. Okay. So let's actually introduce the essay. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have full screened it. Yeah, I should just scroll down. Whatever. Okay. This looks familiar. You've seen things like this before. This is the assignment. You can read all the fine details. I'm not going to go over the fine details. You can do that in your own free time. This is the kind of essay where you're proving something with evidence. It's been assigned on Tuesday, the 26th of May. It's required to be between 3 and 4. Let's say 3 and 5 if you want to get creative. 3 and 5 MLA pages long. All the other parts for this essay, you've already done. You did your argument in your voice. You've done the planning. There's no rough draft. There's just the final draft. You go right from the outline to the final draft. Of course, if you want to show someone your draft and get feedback, you totally can. You can even ask me. I'm not going to just read your rough draft and type on it, but you can ask me specific things. And this is due 1 week later from the assignment date, Tuesday 6/2. Now, you have all of the homework time on this upcoming week, the Tuesday of next week, that homework time, and the classwork this week is shorter than the classwork last week, so you can use that additional time to type up your final draft. This is only on Turnitin. It's not a research paper. Don't get additional sources. Or you shouldn't. If you have to, ask me and I'll approve or something. But you're pretty much just quoting the book. You're creating your own thesis. That was already happened. So some conventions. There's no divorce decree. I think I covered that stylistically. There's no divorce decree. So do whatever you want with language, whatever works. Remember, you're writing for your source. It does need to be an MLA. You don't need a works cited page unless you're citing something else besides Macbeth. If you are, then you need to add that to the works cited page. I'm just assuming you're going to write about Macbeth. And again, there's a special way to quote Shakespeare. That's a typo. Should say put. You put the quotation marks, and between lines you put a slash instead of an enter, just so it saves space. And then you give accent line. You've probably done this, 100 times, 70 times. And you don't need to put Macbeth because you're only citing one play. If you were citing multiple plays, you would have to give me the play number. So it would just look like quote, the line, unquote, and there you go. This stuff you've seen before, the difference between a scholarly essay and a popular essay. I don't need to cover that. Now the rubric. The rubric is mostly the same that you've seen before. And everything that's different is highlighted in yellow. And so, okay, it's not exactly the same. I've deleted some things, like some requirements in the introduction, some requirements, I think, in the thesis. And then everything in yellow is new. And actually, if you zoom in, if you look and you find it, this is all the stuff that you claimed you were going to try out. What were you going to try out in your intro? What were you going to try out in your conclusion? What character were you embodying? So there's a lot of language stuff that's new. And there's this new one, abstractly. There's a feeling of wholeness and connection between all parts of this editorial. It feels like a whole thing, not just different things taped on together. So you've seen most of this before. The highlighted stuff is what's new. There's an MLA checklist. That's exactly the same. But remember, you don't need to works cited unless you have additional sources. Then I'm adding something new. And this actually doesn't make sense until I show you the next doc. Since you're experimenting with language, I'm giving you some additional requirements to insert. I've actually been trying to do something like this for a very long time, and I've never been able to pull it off, or just maybe I wasn't developed enough as a teacher. And I finally did, and I really like it, and I think I'm going to insert stuff like this as a requirement on all essays. So let me minimize that. And I shouldn't have full screened it because it needs to load. Here it is. Oh, let me go back. Here it is. I'm going to call this the advanced rhetoric menu. And like a menu in a restaurant, you pick things. So advanced figurative language. I'm assuming in your natural writing, there's a ton of figurative language. So you don't have to get good at that. So what I have here are 6 kinds of advanced figurative language, the ones I didn't teach you but are just out there in the world. What I'd like you to do is read them, figure out, pick one to insert somewhere into your novel, and not your novel, your essay, and then annotate that that's what you're doing. And then something very similar, I have advanced rhetorical or syntactic devices. This is a lot of the stuff that's in AP Lang. A lot of this stuff you already do. You do naturally. I bet almost all of these you've already done before. You just didn't know they had some sort of fancy name. So what I'd like you to do is pick 3 of these and insert them into your essay, your own creative writing. Insert them into your essay and just annotate them. So you're trying out new things. So these are actually not complicated. They do have fancy names, but they're not complicated. So this one, anaphora, is just a repetition of introductory words in successive statements. I came, I saw, I conquered. That's it. Or I have a dream that this, I have a dream that that, I have a dream that this. I have a dream is the repetition in successive statements. And then there's, ones that have fancy names, but they're really not fancy at all. There's one, where's the phallus feren? Here, chiasmus, when the same words are used twice in succession, but the second time the order is flipped. So fair is foul and foul is fair, right from the opening of Macbeth. A lot of these things have fancy names, and these are the fancy names. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, there's 12 of these. Pick 3 and try them out. Insert them, annotate them. And then that's what that part of the rubric is. Here's your advanced figurative language. Here's your advanced rhetorical and syntactic things. And insert them. And that's a separate homework assignment. You must annotate them. I think on the actual it says how you annotate them in the directions. Please annotate these by underlining them and putting the type next to each in parentheses. So you would underline your example, and then in parentheses you would put anaphora or whatever. And then the one last part of this introduction, I uploaded this as a doc. This is the thing I want you to do your final draft on. It is a doc that's already MLA formatted. So it already has the header, and the numbers will adjust when you add more pages. You just type the stuff here, your name, my name, class section, the date. This is all double spaced and correctly formatted. These are already indented, and when you type into them, they like the rest of the paragraph will be, left half an inch. The only new thing is this. There's a little table here. I want you to insert here the things you're trying out in this essay, because part of the rubric is based on what you said you were going to try out. So remember all this stuff here. A lot of the new stuff I added is like, the syntax or the flow is based on what you attempted. The diction, your word choice, is based on what you attempted. This is where you tell me or remind me what you attempted. This way I don't have to open up another doc to grade you. So your diction, your language style, your tone, the character you're embodying, the introduction strategy that was on part 3, the conclusion strategy that was on part 3, and your advanced pieces of rhetoric. So the 4 things I just showed you. That will also, you get graded here. You put them here. This way, so when I'm grading your essay, everything's just right there. Oh, this is the stuff you were trying. How good was the introduction you were attempting to try? The style, the whatever. The character that you wanted to embody. How well did you embody that character? And a lot of that goes, like I said, right into the style part. So that's the whole intro to the pop essay.